yeah. I've got a lot of other videos that show you a lot of what I'm going to be showing you in this game, but this is basically a condensed version of how to get out of Bronze League. Now, the one thing I want to say is practice, and I highly suggest you practice outside of the ladder a little bit before you go into the ladder. That way you can get comfortable and confident with what you're doing, so that once you get into the ladder, you can be like, hell yeah, I know what I'm doing, and you can do it well, and you don't have to feel bad when you make little mistakes and then lose the game because you're like, oh, I messed something up. Oh, I'm going to lose now. First thing we want to do is single player play versus AI. Hell yeah. This is going to be sort of the thing to do, is play versus AI is sort of your best training grounds. I would say pick a map that's on the 1v1 map pool. You don't necessarily have to. Set it to hard or very hard. Very hard is your graduating stage. When you can beat a very hard AI, you know you're good enough to get up to gold, or at least silver. Gold can be a little difficult at times, but definitely very hard. Hard will get you out of bronze. I'm pretty comfortable in saying that consistently being able to beat hards will get you out of bronze. Very hard, you know, get you out of silver maybe, but it'll definitely go a long way. But anyways, under here, I always set it to faster because that is the game speed of playing multiplayer. Bam, bam, bam. So set it to faster. Pick your race, whatever race you want to use. Of course, I like to use Protoss a lot. Hell yeah. High five to all the Protoss out there because they're a really cool race. Terran's cool too, but Protoss is just that much cooler. And sorry, I got no Zerg love. They're like just, yeah, they want to destroy everything. Yeah, they're like the Borg from Star Trek. And if you like the Borg from Star Trek, well then, nothing I can do for you there. Okay, let's jump right into this game. First thing we're going to be doing, focusing on macro. This is what it's all about. We're going to be teaching you guys I'm going to be teaching you guys the fundamentals, and this would be workers and supply, or pylons and probes for us Protoss players. So there we go. First thing I want you to focus on is always building these workers. Always. I've said this in other videos. I'm going to say it again. Damn it, I don't want to take that out yet. I'm not thinking. And the other thing that I want to focus on is your pylons, and I want to say this, I've seen a lot of bronze level Terrans. They will open up with 2 supply depots or even 3 supply depots, and I gotta say, not exactly the best idea. So when you're in Bronze League, I wouldn't say, don't worry about what I'm doing with scouting quite as much. Scouting can be very valuable, very useful, but you know, scouting is, well, it's not going to be the deciding factor in Bronze League between winning and losing. Let's just put it that way. So you definitely do want to scout though for proxies in your base. You want to check all these dark areas when you're in Bronze League because players do like to proxy a lot. And if you're playing against a Zerg player, I always suggest checking for a 6 pool. And yeah, or if you're playing random because you don't know if they're Zerg. Okay, we got no 6 pool coming out. That's good for me. That's really good. And I'm at 13 supply. Whoa! Didn't select a probe like I wanted, so I'm going to build a gateway. Now the thing is, what you want to do is, so the first thing was always building your pylons and supply. The second thing is knowing what buildings to build and not to build. As I was saying before, you don't want to be one of those players who builds 3 supply depots when you don't need to. I only built 1 pylon. Look at that, 14 out of 18. I've got tons of room. Oops, almost didn't build a probe there, but I caught it just in time. So there we go. That is sort of your whole pylons and probes thing. Yeah, you don't have to worry about being like super fancy with your scouting or anything. Of course, probe right away. I knew that because I can hear game sounds that tell me that my probe just finished because it goes wah. Now look at this, putting down my second pylon at a nice easy 16. I've still got 2 supply left. Ooh, almost missed that probe. I've got 2 supply left, you know, and once again, you don't have to focus on the scouting the way I do. You know, that is not the big thing of the game. The scouting, you know, is not what's going to get you out of bronze. It's this pylons and probes things. Is you want to always be building these probes. Always. Notice how I don't queue up too many. I only queue them up when I know I'm not going to be building a building right then and there. So, you know, there we go. Our first thing, pylons and probes. Can't stress enough. Second thing was building the right buildings at the right time. And doing a build order helps you with both of these, but it definitely helps you with knowing which buildings you can place down when. So, you know, okay, getting confused here. Okay, I decided, you know, usually players will get a zealot right away. I would just like, screw that, I don't have to. So I'm going to be getting a stalker and just skipping that zealot. Okay, And now I'm going to want to build a pylon. Notice I'm building it a little bit sooner than the previous one. Oh, maybe not. But anyways, once you start getting out warp gates and buildings and stuff that you can produce off of, you know you're going to need to be building your supply depots a little bit earlier. So anyways, as you notice, still always building those, yeah, see, I didn't start that pylon quite early enough. Not a big deal though. As I was saying, you always want to be building these pylons and probes. So that's something you always want to think about, always be building. And of course, spending your money on getting the right buildings at the right time. And the thing is, you don't want to overbuild buildings. That's a very common mistake as well. I'm just going to like, getting low on supply, so as soon as I have 100 mins, I want to get out another, there we go, another pylon. Notice I was here, and because I have production buildings, I know that I'm going, oh, fail on the zealot. Poor guy stuck in there forever. Well, if this pylon ever randomly gets destroyed, he'll be set. So there we go. Whoa. There we go. Let's set a funky rally point so that he doesn't get stuck again. Let's build a couple stalkers. Whoa. And I want to get out. There we go. Always building those pylons and probes. And now, as I was saying, the second sort of thing is building the right buildings at the right time, not building buildings too early. Okay, so tying into that is sort of the third thing. Making sure that you don't build, as you can see, making sure, really focus on this. This is the key part that's going to win you the game. And the reason why I'm still making more, even though I've got full saturation here plus extras, is for when I expand. Oh, that's done. Okay, gonna get out an immortal now. Oh, supply is getting really low, so I want to build a pylon. I'm getting close to hitting that cap, and I know I will hit it soon, especially with these warp gates coming out. So I'm going to build another pylon preemptively because I know I'm going to use up at least 6 supply instantly right here. And this immortal will take 4 when he is ready. As you can see, I'm so supply blocked that I can't actually build him. Okay. Just gonna force field that, and then I'm gonna like get free shots from up here. Ah, crap. There we go. Push him down the ramp a little bit so they can't get as much vision. Oh, they were getting the zealot because he went down the ramp a bit. So anyways, I think I just had a probe come back. And now, you know, at this point, it wasn't too big of a deal that I wasn't building. As we get a little bit later, I've got the base fully saturated. I've got a few extras, and so I didn't select the probe there. So it's not as big of a deal, but you still want to build them, especially when you know you're expanding. I want to challenge you to make sure you always expand. I want to challenge you to make sure that you always expand before that 10-minute mark. That's what I really want you to do. I really want you to be expanding before that 10-minute mark. And you don't have to worry about doing all the fancy like attacking and stuff I'm doing. And let's see, always want to build a couple pylons, but also because I'm supply blocked. So, forgetting that pylons part of the pylons and probes temporarily. And the other thing too, this base is perfect. Oh, it's got like 1 or 2 extra workers here, so any extra workers, you can send them to long distance mine, is what I like to do. And I'm just going to poke with my units here. You don't have to, trust me on this one. If you're in Bronze League, really, staying in your base, you'll be fine. Like, you really don't need to poke and prod like this. You just play defensively, stay in your base, don't worry about your micro. I'm just doing this because, whoa, that's a lot of units there. Gonna force field that off so I can retreat. Those Hydras could do some serious damage. I'm gonna have to get out some sentries to deal with them. Anyways, yeah, I said I really want to challenge you guys to expand before that 10-minute mark. And you always want to think about, like, you know, how many production, you know, not overbuilding those production facilities, but then also when you're thinking about that, you want to say how many production facilities can I use off of one base? Well, for Protoss, you can only support, like as in you can only afford to build out of constantly 4 warp gates. 5 is pushing it. You can technically do 5, but really it's 4 warp gates is what it is. Oops, misclick there. Really it's just 4 warp gates, but you can do 5, or you can do 3 gates in a robo. That's also quite common. And the other thing too is, I would have liked to have actually done this a little bit earlier. I didn't. Is when this second base is just about to finish. Of course, we're sending our extra probes over there. When the second base is to finish, is a really good time to build those extra gateways, because you've now got an extra base. You can afford, you want to. you want to put down extra gateways. And of course, always building those pylons and probes. One a lot of players will do is they will get this expansion down, but then they won't build any units to be here. I'm supply blocked for like the 10th time, so sorry guys that I am not living by my own words here. But that just happens when I'm trying to talk to you all, and I'm playing at the same time. Of course, using those chrono boosts because right now I have nothing else to build with it. Because, yeah, I don't have enough mins for that. Because as I was trying, I don't have. Whoa! Some clutch force fields at the last second there. Notice how I make these extra thick? That keeps the Hydralisk from being able to range my units because my units have a longer range than the Hydras. And still just pushing them back with those. There we go. Success. And of course, you don't want to get too distracted like me. You want to focus on the game while you're playing. But anyways, as I think I finished saying this, but I just want to reiterate it once more. When people get up this expansion, they often forget to build amount of probes there. And one thing you'll notice too is I'm getting out these extra production facilities. So that's very important, getting out these extra production facilities and teching up. Once we're starting to get close to the 15-minute mark, you really want to be teching up by then if you haven't already. Preferably around the 10-minute mark, but we're talking bronze here. I'm going to cut you guys some slack. It's definitely okay if you don't tech up quite as fast. And of course, probes. Checking your supply. I got lots. You see I've been building lots of pylons lately to avoid that embarrassing supply blockage that I've been giving myself. So yeah, the thing you're going to find with, if you're doing what I'm doing right now and you're doing really good macro and you're building up your production facilities, you're going to find that it doesn't really matter if you micro well or not. What you're going to find is you just have so many more units than them that you're going to win because you have more units than them. Cute little trick there. While doing this force field so they get down to defend their base if their army's in their main. Really doesn't matter because I'm sure that this AI computer doesn't have an army right now anyways. Now I could do for the finishing blow, but I want to show you guys a little bit of something to get you a little bit later into the game as you're getting into sort of your mid game, late game, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now we've got our technology out. And let's expand again because that's what we do when we're getting later into the game is we expand again. So let's chrono boost those. Let's get a couple Colossi. Oh no. I cannot. I do not have enough SP and gas for Colossi. So anyways, and make sure that you've got, I've got full probe, so I just got to start building Zealots or something if I want to be able to afford those Colossi. Okay, putting this down. And now, because I'm putting down an expansion here, I like to keep my army sort of out from my base a little bit, but also tagging these Zelnaga watchtowers can be very useful as well. Don't forget that. Okay, so there we go, building my probes. Want to build more, even though we've got 2 fully saturated bases. I want to build a few extras so that I can get workers over to that gold right away. Of course, a lot of the workers will come from here, so I don't have to build too many extra workers. And I'm going to need a Twilight Council if I want to keep getting my forge upgrades. Okay. Whoa! I wasn't watching my mini-map too well. So yeah, they got a bit of a sneak off on me. Didn't kill anything, did a little bit of damage. I don't think anything. Oh, this pylon lost a little bit more than its shield. But other than that, not a big deal. I just realized I don't have an observer out. So I'm going to want to start one soon because you always do want to have one. Okay, this one's almost getting done. Going to transfer some workers up there. I had a couple extra here and a lot extra right here. I can see, as I said, you can transfer the majority and then just keep building. But of course, at this point, once we're up here, you don't want to build too many. You really don't want to end up being over that sort of... I need to hotkey these. You really don't want to be over that, like there's a limit. There's a point when you have too many workers. 75 is definitely getting really high, especially at your level of play. So I would stick, make sure you're under 75. Wow, this guy's tripping out. He didn't know how to get there. There we go. Now I have an observer. Okay, check, make sure those rocks are still intact. Okay, now we're in the mid-late game. We're approaching that 20-minute mark. I'm on my third base. You know, I've been doing some good macro, but of course need to get these up. And don't build too many extras because I will have extras from this base soon that will be able to go there. Okay. Now we're in this late game. Now, if you look at my base, I actually do not have enough production facilities. You might have thought, and this isn't because I have a third base, because notice this base is completely mined out, so you cannot count it as a base. So really, when I say that I'm really still on 2 bases, but you're going to notice, like right here, I actually probably should have thrown these down a little sooner. Not a big deal though. Is that, yeah, like I really should have been building those sooner. Those gateways, I definitely would have liked to have seen them gone down a lot sooner. Let's do that force trick again. And the reason why I'm throwing down all these extra gateways is this comes when you're getting into that late game, mid game, you know, like it's definitely important that you're doing that tech up. That's one of your most important things, that you're getting some high level tech like the Colossi or Templars, you know, whatever it happens to be, your tech route of choice. But it's very important to get these extra production facilities, because if you have a big engagement and you happen to lose your entire freaking army and you need to rebuild it, if you still only have 1 robo bay, or even if you have 2, but 1 robo bay and like 5 warp gates, you're not going to be able to build enough. So once you get into this late game, you can actually break that rule. Freaking mutas. Of course, using those long range, using those force fields to keep them out of range. But yeah, like that rule that I originally told you about, only having enough buildings that you can produce out of. The thing is, once we get into the late game, we've actually got lots of minerals, as you can see, but once you get in the late game, you do not need to worry about that rule. Whatever. The reason why we're not worried about that rule is because we're worried about being able to produce a whole bunch of units really fast after losing battles. We're not worried about, you know, because we're not going to be building out of them all of the time. We'll have like a big fight and then we'll build a bunch. We're not going to build a little bit, attack, build a little bit, attack. So, you know, lots and lots of production facilities. You can easily, as Protoss, easily have 10 warp gates or more later in the game. You're always going to want to have at least 2 robo bays if you're going Colossi, maybe 3 if you're going to stick with Colossi. Yeah, and then you want to, you know, you definitely want to invest in bad force fields. And, you know, if you're getting starports, get some starports, whatever. But you want to make sure that you have quite a bit of building is sort of the key thing that I want to impart on you. And I want to impart the reason why. Okay, the AI is just about to surrender. I could say yes right now if I wanted. The key reason for that is because we want to build those units at once. Okay, so let's recap everything that we've gone over. This is how you get out of bronze, and the key thing is your workers and supply, Number 1 thing is always building those workers, always building supply. Number 2 thing is building like the right buildings, like building at the right time. So, you know, you want to make sure that you're not building buildings too early. Let's move them over there so that nothing gets out. So that's the key thing, is you want to make sure that you're building your buildings in the right time. You don't want to start off with 2 or 3 supply depots, because you're wasting minerals on supply depots when you have lots of room for supply. So the thing is, yeah, okay, you'll need the supply depots later, but if you build the supply depots too early, that cuts into your pylon or your worker production, so your probes. So that's the problem with building long buildings early on. So you don't want to build too many buildings early on. You want to find that nice balance, and you can get this from a build order. Just so you know, build orders incorporate all of these basics into something that you can blindly follow. But the problem is with build orders is if you blindly follow them and don't learn how to react to the game, you'll lose in a lot of scenarios, because all you did was follow the build order and you don't know how to react to things that counter that build order. Okay, so not building any buildings. Now the third thing is, we want to make sure we only produce what we can afford off 1 base, and that ties into the second one, obviously. Early on, I've seen bronze level players build like 9 warp gates, a robo bay, forge, and a twilight council. The problem with that is you spent like an extra 1,000 minerals on buildings, which is 10 zealots, or like 7 stalkers, and those buildings can't do anything. You don't have the money. Either you don't have the money for upgrades, which would be the Forged Twilight Council, or if, with having 9 gateways, you don't have the money to build units out of the gateways every time their cooldown finishes. And same thing with the robos. You don't have enough money to build 2 immortals at the same time. So the thing is, you've spent all this extra money, but you're not actually producing anything. So you've wasted money that you could have put towards units. So there we go. And the fourth and last thing, when we're talking about getting into that late and mid game, you're getting up to your 3rd base, or getting into that late game, make sure that you've really challenged yourself to expand by 10. Make sure that you're building all your stuff at 10, and do your tech up. That's when you want to be teching up at that point. You want to be getting higher level units at that point. And once you get into that late game, build these production facilities. So there you guys go. Those are my steps for getting you out of Bronze League. You guys will definitely get out of Bronze League. The only thing, like, yes, definitely for sure, you're going to be able to there we go. You're still going to have to deal with things like cheese. You'll still have players doing unorthodox moves against you that can kill you really, really early in the game. Definitely you'll see that in Bronze, like a 6 pool. You know, you have to look at ways to counter this cheese. You have to do a little bit of scouting to know if they're doing it. But aside from that, if we're just looking at the rest of it, as long as you can get past that cheese and that initial rushing, then you're going to be golden. Because the thing is, everybody else in Bronze League, they'll be sitting back, and let's say 8 minutes into the game, they'll have 15 workers, and they'll be getting like 500 minerals per minute and 100 gas per minute. Well, you'll be sitting at like 28, and you'll be getting 800 minerals per minute and 250 gas per minute, and you'll be able to build like 30% or 40% more units than them, and you'll just have so many more units than them that it doesn't matter that you can't micro well or you can't do fancy tricks like the pros. You'll just have twice the size of the army. Your army will be twice as big, so you just go crush, and they die. So there you guys go. Hope you all get out of Bronze League if you want to, and hope you guys, most importantly, have fun playing StarCraft.